Hi, y'all. Gonna jump back for a minute to 1975. I checked the date. Something I forgot to tell you. Okay, my friend Billy, the musician friend that I had since I was 10, and he and Bob got to be friends and jam together, and he came to visit in San Diego when we lived in the city. He also came to visit the place where we're living in my story now, but I'll get to that. 1975, when we were still in New Jersey, he gives me a call. He says, "One of us finally made it big." Didn't know what he was talking about, of course. Bruce is on the cover of Newsweek. So awesome. Bruce was taken off, and everybody was excited about that. Well, jumping back into my story, 1980, okay? We're living 40 miles outside of San Diego in the back country, and well, I just mentioned that, I think I mentioned that Billy came to see us when we lived out in the back country also in the trailer. He came to visit us, and but not at that time. Right around that time, we got a phone call from another friend from New Jersey. Um, he's like a famous surfer, champion surfer guy. Anyway, he gave us a call and he said, "Hey, I'm at Bruce's house in Hollywood. Uh, you guys should come on up." So that was on a Friday, like 8 o'clock. And, you know, we wanted to go, but it was just kind of crazy to us. We were so out of the party scene. We had not partied since we left New Jersey, and we had the baby, right? And Hollywood was a good 3 or more hours away, and we had no money, and we would probably get lost, you know. Um, and it was late. If we left that night, we wouldn't get there till after midnight. It was just too crazy. So we decided not to go. And I always regret to this day that I didn't go. Um, Most likely the party wasn't too crazy because what I've heard that Bruce is not as wild as a lot of those rock stars were, you know. Um, Darn, I wish I would have went. Anyway, missed out on that. Um, so right around that time, right when I first found out I was pregnant, my mom sent me money to come visit New Jersey. So we had been gone for 2 years, and we went to visit, and we announced that I was pregnant again. Everybody was happy about that. Well, I stayed at Bob was there, but he only stayed very briefly. I think he had to go back. He wasn't able to stay. I might have stayed a week or so, and he stayed like just a couple days, is what I remember. So, um, my I stayed at my mom's house, and as I told you, things were definitely going downhill at my mother's house ever since I moved out. And my brother was there with his girlfriend living there, and my dad was had his bed downstairs in the little extra room, and he was not doing so good. And my mom, I mean, the household was just crazy. My grandma was gone at that time, but um, my brother told me that this stuff was going on with these people coming in and out of the house and all. I don't know, but my mother, uh, it's hard to talk about really, and uh, but I'm gonna tell you because it's what I went through. It's what I went through, and um, she's gone now. My mom was not all bad. She did a lot for me. She took care of me, made sure I was always fed and clothed and all that all the time. But she came from a different place, a different culture in Japan, and I don't know If it was just her or if this was common, I don't know. But this one day in the middle of the afternoon, I come down the stairs, right? And Lauren's upstairs. Um, she was walking then. She was 2. And, she could walk, but she was still very little. But Lauren was advanced in her talking. Uh, and that made me think maybe she was advanced in understanding also. I don't know, but she was definitely advanced talking. She was advanced, like she was using she was potty trained. I mean, like right after she turned 1 year old. And she could talk really good at 2. I mean, better than most at 2. In sentences. So, my mom, when I walked downstairs in the middle of the afternoon, and she's laying on the couch naked, stark naked. My dad is sitting in his easy chair, watching TV as usual, totally ignoring her. And my mom is there, stark naked, acting sexy, trying to seduce my father. Now, it just blew my mind, disgusted me. I yelled at I yelled at her, told her off, you do that stuff in private, not in the middle of the day with the door wide open, and my little girl could come down here and see this going on. It just made me sick. So I went upstairs and I called my mother-in-law, Bob's mom, and I was really upset. I mean, I might have been crying or almost crying. I was very upset, like shaky. And I called her and I just told her, I didn't tell her what happened. I just said, can I come and stay with you? And she said, of course, is something wrong? And I said, yeah. I said, I can't tell you, but I just can't stay here any longer. It's terrible. I can't stay here any longer. And she said, sure, come on, you could stay here. Well, I got my stuff together. I was ready to go out the door, and my mother stopped me, and she says, you leave this house, and you're no more my daughter. No more. I know you're no more your mother. You no more my daughter. So I stayed. I couldn't leave my mother like that. But she put some clothes on, thank God. Anyway, that's how cuckoo she was. So what else happened? We visited a few friends visited us. It was all good. Saw Bob's family and cousins and aunts and all that. That was sweet. I loved his family. He had it's what I wanted, what I didn't have, that kind of family that was close and had meals together, and they had aunts and uncles and cousins and all that stuff that I didn't have. And I loved being a part of that, and they accepted me, so much into the family. It was beautiful. So went back to California and found out that, what happened was, I told you in the last time that I had very mixed emotions about being pregnant again. I was happy, I wanted to be happy, but because we're so broke, we were making hardly no money, Bob doing the stained glass, and I was babysitting. Like, we couldn't afford to have another child, but I did want one, but it just didn't seem like the right time. And so I had very mixed emotions. And then one day I went to the bathroom and I saw some blood. I was starting to bleed. And at that moment, as soon as I saw that blood and I thought, I'm going to have a miscarriage, right then I knew that I wanted that baby. I knew how bad I wanted that baby. And all of a sudden that love came to me that I didn't think was in me, that I knew, even though it wasn't even it was, I just found out. I mean, I was like, maybe 1 month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks pregnant, something like that. But I knew that I already loved that baby, and I wanted it more than anything at that moment. It was like I wanted to hold on to that baby more than anything in the world at that moment. And I prayed right there on the toilet, God, please, I'm sorry, sorry, sorry that I had doubts and fears and I wasn't trusting you enough, but please save my baby and let it be normal and healthy and help me through this pregnancy and make things work out for us. And yelled to Bob, and he called a doctor. Doctor said, get in the bed, elevate your legs. It was a Friday. Get in the bed, elevate your legs, and stay there all weekend. And I did, and the bleeding stopped. And I was thankful. And from that moment on, from the moment I saw those little drops of blood, from that moment on, I was looking forward to having those babies, trusting God totally. Didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew that God was with us, that somehow it would work out. And now, Bob, he knew, and I knew, that he needed to do something and get a real job, right? Because he wasn't making hardly any money doing the stained glass. So he said that he thought that he always would like to do something medical. And that made sense to me too, because he had that good type of personality that would, I could see him, in the hospital helping people. And so we looked up under schools, colleges. He wanted to go to nursing school, but it was a 2-year wait. And, I said, we can't wait 2 years. You got to do something right away. So we saw a respiratory college, and he was able to get in there. So he started to go there. It was in San Diego, and I would take the car once a week. He would use it every day, and once a week I would drop him off and do my shopping and errands, laundry, whatever needed to be done, go to the bank, whatever. Chula Vista, I would go usually for that. And one day when I was going down Otay Lakes Road to Chula Vista, that's a back road, and there's a big long stretch, I mean maybe 20 miles, at least 15 or maybe 20, that there was hardly anything there. I don't know what's there anymore, but there was like nothing there. It was a big ranch, and there was a campgrounds in one spot, but otherwise there was nothing. And my car broke down. That crummy old 74 Pinto that we had. And I didn't know what to do. I had AAA ever since when we left Jersey to go to California. I got AAA. I've had it ever since. They've helped me many, many times. But there was no cell phones. We didn't have phone, and there was no phone booths around or anything. So I got out with Lauren and stuck out my thumb, and that was not real scary for me because, as I told you before, I used to hitchhike back in Jersey when I was a hippie teenager and thought it was just a cool thing to do. But anyway, I knew how to do it. I knew how it worked. And a guy in the pickup truck stopped and gave me a ride. And I expected him to drop me off when he was turning off the road, but he took me all the way home. Really super nice guy. He said that when he saw me and the baby, it reminded him of his daughter and his grandbaby. And he said he wanted to give us a safe ride home. And he did. God bless him. And I got to say, praise God, it's always with me. He has saved me so many times. Every time I get in a scary situation, God is always there with somebody to help me. He uses people like that. Maybe he used you. That's the way he prefers, is for us to help one another. And he sends his angels, and I've even seen them. I told you about that. So we went on. I always had the WIC program, the federal program, Women, Infants, and Children. I got on that when I was in New Jersey, pregnant with Lauren. I got on the WIC program. I was going to the clinic in the hospital because I didn't have health insurance back then, and was able to get on the WIC program. It's a really good program where women with small children and infants can buy essentials like milk and bread and eggs and cheese. Certain things are allowed free on the WIC program. So I already had that. But because Bob's going to school and he's only working a few hours on the stained glass. By the way, I used to help him with the stained glass. I used to do the copper foil. Every single piece, he would cut the glass, and I would clean it and foil it. You had to put the foil tape around each piece, and then I would fit it. FID, FID is when you this little instrument that you rub it, press it down good, and all that. The foil and the FID is so that the copper will stick nice. And I used to do the fitting and the foiling for him, and I babysat. But he was doing he had to cut that back because of his school. He had a lot of homework and everything. So we went on food stamps and welfare. And there was this couple who went to our church in San Diego, the Slocums, Dolores and Bob Slocum. They were in their 60s, probably early 60s. And she was Mexican, spoke fluent English as well as Spanish, and they were missionaries, and they would go down to Mexico regularly and bring food. I don't know where they got this food, but they would stop at our house, our trailer, and give us some of the food before they went to Mexico every time. So that's how we got along, and I would go to Chula Vista to buy food at there was a Boney's Market. Boney's Market was owned by the father of Pastor Boney, who baptized us, who was the heroin addict. Yeah. All that's in my past stories. If you haven't seen them, go catch up. So I was pregnant, and I didn't even take prenatal vitamins. I made juice every day. I made wheatgrass juice, with carrots and celery and whatever different things I would throw in there. But I did that every day. My first pediatrician, well, he was just a general GP. He was a Seventh-day Adventist, vegetarian, and he was working out at the Rancho Labrie, the rehab retreat that our church was running. And I would go there when I first got pregnant. My pediatrician for Lauren was in San Diego. But this doctor, he told me that if I was doing the juice, I didn't need the prenatal vitamins and I'd be fine and all. But then when I found out I was having twins, which I talked about in the last episode, then that doctor said that twins are automatically a high risk. Any multiple births are considered high risk. So he told me that I needed to go, to a real specialist, So I did in La Mesa. And so I gained 38 pounds during my pregnancy, which is the same amount I gained with Lauren. But when I was pregnant with Lauren, I got chubby all over, gained weight all over. But with the twins, it was all in the belly, 38 pounds, all in the belly. I was like still thin everywhere else. And So, uh, my water broke. One day, my water broke. Um, 7 o'clock in the morning, Bob was still home, and I said, call a doctor, we're on our way, wrapped a beach towel around me. I had on denim maternity pants. Now, I gotta tell you, these were size 12, and I was normally like a size 2. So that's how big my stomach was. And anyway, when your water breaks, it's like a flood, and it doesn't stop. It's not just like one big gush. It keeps on gushing. It just keeps on gushing. And by the time we got there, I mean, La Mesa, it was 30 miles to get to the doctor's office, and Grossmont Hospital is right next to the doctor's office. So by the time I got there, I was totally drenched from my waist down. All of my pants and the beach towel both were like almost dripping wet. They were so soaked. And it all happened so quick. I mean, from the time my water broke, 2.5 hours, first baby comes out with the cord wrapped around his neck. And they said it, doctor said it right away, cords around the neck. My heart jumps a beat, but they took it off. He was fine. Then second baby, the feet come down, and he was breech. And the nurse said, prepare for cesarean. He said no. And he just, I just delivered a 5.5 pound baby. So, he just stuck his hand like up to his wrist, grabbed around his ankles and pulled him out. And that was the second baby. And he was only 1 ounce short of 6 pounds. So doctor said that never saw so much placenta ever. He had a lot of twin births. He had in his doctor's office, he had a whole bulletin board full of twins. And he said that my placenta filled up the whole bucket. And he said it looked like 4 placentas. So again, it made me think that when I almost had that miscarriage, maybe I did miscarriage an extra baby, or even 2, who knows. But I think it had something to do with the twins, that something broke apart and ripped, and that's why I had some bleeding at that time. But so they were both healthy. The hospital called them baby A and B. I'm going to call them Robbie and Bobby. Their dad is Bob. I'm going to call them Robbie and Bobby, or R and B. And I was so happy. It was just so awesome. So I guess that's it for now. Oh, I got a picture. Here's a picture. There we go. Yep, right after they were born. Okay, see you next time. Thanks for watching.